Most people wait until spring to graft their mango trees, and that's exactly why most of them fail. If you've been told that hot weather kills grafts, you've been given bad information. The truth is, heat can actually work in your favor, but only if you know the 3 things you must never do when temperatures climb above 90 degrees. Before you scroll past, hit that subscribe button right now. Every week I share practical growing tips that actually work in the real world, not just in a laboratory. Let me show you what I mean. Last summer, during a stretch of 95-degree days, I successfully grafted 11 mango trees. 8 of them took on the very first try. Those trees are now producing fruit. Not because I got lucky. Not because I have some fancy greenhouse, but because I avoided the specific mistakes that cause hot weather grafts to fail. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what those mistakes are, and you'll have a clear, step-by-step plan to graft your own mango tree even in the heat of summer. Here's the thing. You've probably tried grafting before and watched the whole thing go brown and crispy within a week. You wrapped it perfectly. You used a clean knife. You followed every tutorial you could find, and still, nothing. Maybe you blamed the heat. Maybe you blamed the rootstock. Maybe you just gave up and decided summer grafting wasn't for you. If that sounds familiar, you are not alone. Thousands of mango growers make the exact same mistakes every single summer, and the painful part is, most of them are just 1 or 2 small adjustments away from success. So what's actually going wrong? Here's the simple truth. A graft is basically an open wound on a living plant. You're cutting into the wood, attaching new tissue from another tree, and asking both pieces to heal together and grow as one. When temperatures are high, 2 things happen fast. First, the cut surfaces dry out much more quickly than in cool weather. Second, the scion, that's the piece you're attaching, loses water through its leaves and buds faster than the plant can replace it. When that scion dries out before the union heals, the graft dies. It's that simple. Heat doesn't kill grafts. Dehydration kills grafts. And once you understand that, fixing the problem becomes a lot easier. Now let's walk through this step by step, because the process itself isn't complicated. What matters is the timing, the preparation, and the details that most tutorials completely skip over. Start by choosing the right time of day. This is the single most important factor in hot weather grafting, and almost nobody talks about it. Do not graft in the middle of the day. The sun is brutal, the air is dry, and every second your cut surfaces are exposed, moisture is escaping. Instead, graft in the early morning, ideally before 9 a.m. The temperatures are lower, the humidity is naturally a little higher, and the plant's cells are full of water from the cooler overnight hours. If morning doesn't work for you, late evening after 5 p.m. is your second option. The idea is to avoid the peak heat window entirely. Experienced growers know this trick. Beginners almost always skip it. Next, prepare your tools the night before. Don't wait until the morning of your graft to sharpen your knife or gather your supplies. A dull blade causes ragged cuts that don't heal cleanly. You need one very sharp grafting knife, not a box cutter, not a pocket knife. A proper grafting blade that can make a single smooth cut without tearing the plant tissue. Wipe your blade with rubbing alcohol before you use it. Bacteria and fungi love warm, moist conditions, and a contaminated blade can introduce infection right into your graft union. Lay out your grafting tape, your grafting knife, and a small spray bottle filled with clean water. That spray bottle is going to be your secret weapon. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Now, choosing your scion wood. The scion is the piece of wood you cut from the tree you want to clone. In hot weather, scion selection matters even more than usual. You want wood that is firm, mature, and slightly hardened. What growers call semi-hardwood. Avoid the very soft, bright green new growth at the tips. That young tissue wilts almost instantly in heat, but also avoid wood that is fully hard and dormant. What you want is wood that has grown recently, but has had a few weeks to firm up. It should feel solid when you press it gently, and the buds along the stem should be plump, but not actively pushing out new leaves yet. Cut your scion in the early morning. Wrap it immediately in a damp paper towel and place it in a sealed plastic bag. If you're not grafting within the next 30 minutes, keep that bag in a cool shaded spot, or even briefly in a cooler with a loose ice pack. Keeping the scion hydrated before you even start the graft is something most beginners never think about, and it makes a huge difference. Now for the actual grafting process, there are several methods that work well for mango. Cleft grafting, veneer grafting, and approach grafting are the most common. For hot weather conditions, veneer grafting tends to give the best results because it exposes less surface area to the open air. But the principles I'm sharing work with any method. Make your cut on the rootstock cleanly and quickly, then cut your scion to match. The most important thing at this moment is speed. Every second those surfaces are exposed to the hot, dry air, you are losing your window. Don't stop to adjust. Don't pause to look around. Make the cuts, bring them together, and get them wrapped. This is where that spray bottle comes in. Right before you bring the scion and rootstock together, give the cut surfaces the lightest, briefest mist of clean water. Just a fraction of a second of spray. You're not soaking them. You're preventing that instant surface dehydration that happens in hot weather. This one trick can dramatically improve your success rate. The cells on both cut surfaces stay alive and flexible, just long enough to form a good connection. Press the scion firmly against the rootstock so the green layers align as closely as possible. That green layer under the bark is called the cambium, and this is where the magic happens. When cambium touches cambium, the cells begin to grow together. If your cuts don't align, the graft won't take. You don't need to be perfectly exact on both sides. Even one side lined up well gives you a fighting chance. Now wrap it. Use grafting tape, parafilm, or even clear plumber's tape. Start from the bottom of the union and spiral upward, overlapping each layer slightly. Pull the tape gently snug, but don't strangle the graft. You want it firm enough to hold everything in place, but not so tight that you're crushing the tissue. Cover the entire union completely. In hot weather, even small gaps in your wrapping allow moisture to escape, and that can kill your graft within hours. Here's something most tutorials never mention. In hot conditions, shading your new graft is not optional, it's essential. After you finish wrapping, place something over the graft to block direct sun. A small piece of shade cloth, a paper bag loosely fitted over the top, or even a few large leaves tied above it to cast a shadow. Direct sunlight on a fresh graft in summer will heat that wrapped tissue to a temperature that no plant can survive. You don't need to shade the whole tree, just the graft union and the scion. Even 2 or 3 days of shade protection while the initial healing begins can double your success rate. Check your graft every 2 to 3 days, but resist the urge to unwrap it. I know it's tempting. You want to see if it's working, but every time you disturb the wrapping, you risk breaking the fragile connection that's trying to form. Wait at least 10 to 14 days before you do any kind of inspection. If the scion stays green and the buds look plump, that's a very good sign. If the leaves or buds shrivel up and turn brown in the first few days, the graft likely failed and you'll need to try again. But if everything stays green past day 10, you're probably in business. After 2 to 3 weeks, if the buds on your scion start to swell and push out new growth, your graft has taken. This is one of the most satisfying moments in all of gardening. That new growth is proof that the two pieces of plant have joined together and started working as one. At this point, you can begin to loosen the wrapping slightly, but don't remove it all at once. Let the union strengthen over the next few weeks before you expose it fully to the elements. Now let's talk about the common mistakes, because this is where most people go wrong. And a lot of these mistakes seem completely logical until you understand why they fail. The first mistake is grafting in the afternoon. It seems like it shouldn't matter much, but it absolutely does. Afternoon heat in summer is relentless, and the plant is already under stress from the day's temperatures. A graft done at 2 p.m. on a 95-degree day is fighting against conditions that even experienced growers struggle with. Shift to morning, and you'll immediately see better results. The second mistake is using scion wood that's too young. People see that fresh, healthy new growth at the tips of their favorite tree and think that's the best wood to use. But soft new growth has very little stored energy and loses water almost instantly in heat. It looks healthy on the tree, but the moment it's cut and exposed to summer air, it wilts fast. Always use wood that has matured for at least a few weeks after the last flush of growth. The third mistake is not covering the graft from direct sun. This might be the most common mistake of all. People wrap the graft beautifully, walk away, and come back in a week to find brown, dead tissue. The wrapping held everything together, but the sun essentially cooked the graft from the outside. Always shade your graft. Always. The fourth mistake is using tape that's too tight. When you're nervous about the graft failing, it feels natural to wrap it tighter, thinking that will hold things together better. But mango tissue is delicate, and over-tightening cuts off the movement of fluids through the stem. Snug is good, tight enough to feel firm when you press it, but not wound so tight that the stem underneath starts to change color or deform. The fifth mistake is not moistening the scion before grafting. Dry scion wood in hot weather is almost guaranteed to fail. Just that tiny bit of surface moisture right before you make the union is often the difference between a successful graft and a dead one. The sixth mistake is doing too many grafts at once without working quickly. Some people try to do 5 or 6 grafts in one session, and by the time they get to the last one, the earlier cuts have been sitting exposed for 20 minutes in the sun. Each graft should be its own complete, fast operation. Cut.
Missed.
Join. Wrap. Shade. Then move to the next one. Now for the bonus tip. This is something experienced growers do that nobody really talks about in mainstream tutorials. About a week before you plan to graft, water your rootstock trees deeply. Give them a really thorough soaking, then reduce watering for 2 or 3 days before the graft. What this does is keep the plant cells plump with water without creating excess pressure in the tissue. A rootstock that is well hydrated but not waterlogged is in the ideal state for receiving a graft. The cells are full, the cambium is active, and the tree has energy to begin healing quickly. On the other hand, a rootstock that has been dry and stressed has slow cell activity and won't heal as fast. And a rootstock that was just heavily watered the day before may have too much internal pressure, which can actually push the scion away from the union. That sweet spot of deep watering a week out, then a couple of days of reduced water, consistently improves graft take rates in hot weather. Professional nurseries use this method all the time. Also, consider applying a very thin layer of grafting wax or tree wound sealant over the top end of the scion after you've wrapped the union. The cut tip of the scion is a spot where water escapes quickly, and sealing it off gives the scion a better chance of staying hydrated long enough for the union to form. This is especially helpful during heat waves when the air is dry and the sun is strong. There's one more thing worth mentioning. Not every graft will succeed, and that's okay. Even expert growers with decades of experience don't hit 100%. Summer grafting is more challenging than spring or fall grafting. But it's absolutely possible, and the mangoes that come from summer grafts can start establishing themselves and flowering as early as the following season. The key is understanding why grafts fail, removing those obstacles one by one, and keeping your process consistent. Every failed graft teaches you something. Every successful one rewards you with exactly the variety of mango you chose. So let's bring it all together. Grafting mango in hot weather is not a gamble if you follow the right steps. Graft in the early morning. Choose mature semi-hardwood scion wood. Keep the scion hydrated before and during the process. Work quickly, align the cambium, wrap firmly, and always shade your graft from direct sun. Deep water your rootstock a week before. Ease off the water 2 days before, and seal the tip of your scion to lock in moisture. Avoid grafting in the afternoon, avoid soft new growth, avoid wrapping too tight, and avoid the temptation to peak too early. Those 11 grafts I told you about at the beginning of this video, this is exactly what I did. No fancy tools, no special greenhouse, just timing, preparation, and the small details that make all the difference. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up right now. It helps more growers find this information, and I genuinely appreciate it. Drop a comment below and tell me what mango variety you're working with, or what grafting problem you've been struggling with. I read every single comment, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now is a great time. I put out new videos every week on growing mangoes, tropical fruit trees, and getting the most out of your garden no matter where you live. There's a whole playlist of mango-related videos on this channel, and I'll drop a link to the most helpful one right here for you to watch next. I'll see you in the next one.